What if I told you that some of the world's most successful people and creative minds share a little-known habit that sets them apart? And what if I told you that it involves drugs? No, not those kind of drugs, these kind of drugs. A growing number of mainstream publications and notable professionals, athletes, and celebrities are reporting that microdosing, when done following a proper protocol, has a whole host of benefits that range from increased mood to sharper focus. In this video, I'm going to reveal the unfair advantage that microdosers say they have that most people are unaware of, the science behind microdosing, and how you can get started. Section 1. What is microdosing? Before we get into the advantages of microdosing, you need to really understand what it is. Microdosing is taking a small dose of psychedelics, not enough for you to start tripping, but just enough for you to experience the benefits that psychedelics provide. Psilocybin or magic mushrooms and LSD tend to be the most popular psychedelics for microdosing. Likely this is due to a combination of their extremely low risk of addiction and low toxicity, along with the abundance of subjective reports and benefits. Microdosing itself has been around for several decades, but it wasn't until the turn of the century where it became a popular practice among people looking for a creative boost or an alternative to medications like SSRI antidepressants. It's become so popular, in fact, that there is a growing number of microdosing coaches and guides who now make it their life's mission to educate others on how to get started. They're teaching others how to properly source their medicine or even cultivate their own for personal use, and how each person's physical and mental makeup can affect the experience. And from social media to Reddit and other message boards, communities of experienced microdosers are growing larger by the day that are filled with welcoming people who often offer training of their own. Section 2. The science behind microdosing. First, it's important to understand that psychedelics, which had many promising studies conducted on them in the 50s and 60s, were essentially banned from research for 50 years due to Nixon's war on drugs. Only in the past few years has there been this incredible resurgence of interest in clinical trials. In fact, the FDA gave breakthrough therapy status to both psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, and MDMA just in recent years. So what does this mean for the science? It means that a lot more research is still needed. In the meantime, there are quite literally tens of thousands of subjective self-reports online of people having substantial improvements in mental wellness, focus, mental clarity, self-love, feelings of connection, and numerous other shifts that they have described as beneficial. In larger or macro doses, both psilocybin and LSD are undergoing numerous clinical trials and studies. For example, in 2002, the FDA cleared a phase 2b study on LSD as an anxiety treatment, and currently a search for psilocybin on clinicaltrials.gov show 169 ongoing studies. Clinical trials of microdosing have produced various findings, some indicating benefit, some indicating placebo effect. But talk to anyone whose life has been transformed by microdosing, and you'll feel it's hard to argue with their certainty regarding the benefits that they have experienced. More research is definitely needed, and perhaps that we discover that psychedelics may act as some sort of placebo enhancer. In other words, if you feel they're going to benefit you, in some cases, perhaps they support how positive suggestion, which is an evidence-based beneficial practice, actually works. Section 3. The unfair advantages. Do people who microdose really have an unfair advantage? It all truly depends on each individual. Everybody has their own unique mental and physical makeup and may have different interactions with different substances. Anecdotally, many of the people who try a microdosing regimen report things like increased focus and an uplift in mood and a decrease in anxiety and stress. All of these things can impact other areas of your life, like relationships with your friends, family, and loved ones, and even an increase in productivity. While many studies are still ongoing, Leiden University found that microdosing does seem to help with convergent and divergent thinking. Convergent thinking is like finding the one answer to a question, while divergent thinking is about coming up with lots of different ideas and possibilities. A 2019 study on the behavior effects of microdosing LSD also found an increase in effort, energy, and enthusiasm, while physiological measures like breath rate and pulse were unaffected. Anecdotal reports from people who have been microdosing for years can also be found all over the internet. Many of these individuals have had their lives changed, whether that be physically through pain management for conditions like migraines or PMS, or in terms of how it increased their empathy for those around them, resulting in stronger bonds with their partners and better relationships with those in their lives. Section 4. How to get started. Now that you're caught up on the basics of microdosing, what's next? The first and most important thing you can do is continue to educate yourself. Just like anything you put in your body, psychedelics may not be right for you. It's an absolute necessity to study contraindications or who medically for mental health conditions should not use psychedelics. Next, read up on the different protocols that are commonly used for microdosing. The two most popular are known as the Fadiman protocol and the Stamets stack, named after James Fadiman and Paul Stamets. The Fadiman protocol involves taking a microdose every 3 days while using the days off in between to reflect and integrate the experiences. The Stamets stack consists of a microdose, lion's mane mushroom, mushrooms and niacin taken 4 days in a row, followed by 2 to 3 days off. You are also going to want to make sure that you have a system in place for tracking your mood, dosage, and the subjective experience as a whole. This is incredibly helpful when it comes to adjusting your dosages and getting a grand picture of how microdosing has actually helped you over an extended period of time. Integration may be the most important part of your microdosing journey. Integration is keeping track of how you recognize what you're feeling, how you may be experiencing life differently, and where you may be seeing new perspectives on how to optimize things for greater wellness and happiness. It's the key to taking what you've learned and applying it to all areas of your life. Many people turn to journaling or even art as a way to help them integrate their experiences. For beginners, you may even decide to work with an integration coach or therapist to accomplish this task. Finally, and for obvious reasons, you'll want to make sure you truly understand the legal status of the substance you are seeking. The legality of these substances vary around the world, and while something like psilocybin mushrooms may be decriminalized in one city, that won't be the case everywhere else. I do not condone or endorse doing any illegal activities, so I have added a guide in the description below that can fill you in on the legalities and legal sourcing, which is not legal advice and is only for harm reduction purposes. It's important to get educated about everything from contraindications, which is who should not take psychedelics due to medical or mental conditions, legal status, dosage protocols, and even the proper integration, how to get the most out of your microdosing experience. And there are a lot of other important factors as well. I created this for educational and harm reduction purposes. So hopefully your takeaway is that you better understand microdosing, but also realize that it's really worth to do more research on. If you like this video and feel more people could benefit from learning about microdosing, please hit that like button, leave a comment about what you hope to accomplish with your microdosing experiences, or share your experiences to help other people grow the conversation. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos where I'll dive in deeper to these subjects.